Hello?
Skip?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Jay Bear.
Hey, Jay, how you doing? Give me just a second, all right? Hang on.
Yeah, you bet.
I apologize. I just walked in the door.
Oh, no worries. Is this still an okay time?
Yeah, now it's a great time.
Oh, great. Terrific. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. I'm thrilled to talk to you. Really excited that my buddy DJ forwarded me your information. Let me tell you a little bit about the book, and then I'm going to ask you all questions.
Yeah, before you get too thrilled, you haven't talked to me for any time yet, so I'm sure
That's true.
that thrill was temper.
I'm theoretically thrilled, put it that way.
There you go. Thank you.
The book is called Talk Triggers, The Secret Recipe for Doing Things Different and Getting Customers for Free. And The premise is that every business has a choice. You have a choice to do things the way everybody else in your industry does it, or you have a choice to do something different. And if you do something different enough, then customers will A, notice it, B, tell other people about it, and C, those people who get told about it become the next wave of customers, which costs you almost nothing. That being different creates word of mouth, and word of mouth builds businesses. That is the thesis for the book.
I think that's a sound quality. I guess the only caveat for me would be that as long as it's the right difference.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, being different for different sake can blow up in your face. That's for sure. And the restaurant business is littered with examples of people doing that wrong. No question.
That's true. Can you hear me? Okay, I'll put you on speakerphone. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're great. No, you're fantastic. Thanks.
Okay.
So I think the best way to start, just for book purposes, I'm going to record this. It's easier to transcribe it for the book.
Sure.
Is to kind of tell me your name and tell me the story about the restaurant and just kind of the history, and then I'll ask you a bunch of questions about the specific stuff.
Okay. Well, my name's Skip Wall, and I was with Chili's for 17 years, and I went through the ranks there, worked my way through college with Chili's, and I also bartended, and then after I graduated with a degree in organizational communications, I went to work for KPMG and realized that, hey, you know what, I hate this job. Working at college, going to college for a major that I thought was going to be great. I had a great job. It was in the 8th floor of the Wells Fargo building. It was just right down the street from the Capitol, and it was great. But guess what? I figured out that I like talking to people, and this was not the job for me. So I went back to work for Chili's. Then I went up into the management program, and I was a manager for several years, and then I was what they call the managing partner, which a general manager, and then you go into managing partner for the Chili's. It's Brinker, actually. Brinker is On the Border and Macaroni Grill and a couple other things. So I went into that and found, you get to a certain age where you go, is this all there is? And I was a little bit of a black sheep, a little bit of not quite a rule follower, but I was a rule follower.
We were overseeing a bunch of different restaurants and different brands at that point?
No, just the one Chili's.
Okay, got it.
But we had about 75 employees, I think. It was
big.
At one point it was the busiest Chili's in Northern California.
Wow.
Because the Oak Grove market was just so hot that everybody had some extra disposable income, and it was a lot of fun. But you get to an age where you say, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And there wasn't much chance for advancement in that organization because I was a little bit of not necessarily a rule follower, but a rule challenger. How's that?
Yeah.
I was the guy who raised his hand in the meeting and asked why, and that doesn't necessarily go over real well. So my wife and I did a lot of conversation, a lot of praying, and a lot of research, and said, hey, you know what? I think we can do this thing on our own. And so in 2010, decided that we're going to open our own spot. And it opened in 2011, October of 2011, as a matter of fact. And it's a small spot. Want to go small. Some of those things that Chili's had to offer, Chili's taught me, I was able to put into work. Food costs and some of the financials and running the business. But I was always a front of the house guy, which means front of the house means serving and bartending. Back of the house is essentially the kitchen. I was always a front of the house guy and knew that I could make good food taste great with great service. Now at Chili's, it was the mantra was it's all about the food, stupid. It's the food, stupid was the mantra, and I didn't necessarily agree with that, but I thought that food tastes better when in a good atmosphere or when you've got good service behind it. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm really proud of our food and how we do things at the restaurant, but it was very nice to be able to put a product out there, but to back it with something that people really enjoyed, and that's kind of where I got the foundation of working with people and really working with customers. I was really involved. My wife was a teacher at the time in the area, in the neighborhood, and I was really involved with different things when it came to softball or baseball or softball or coaching soccer or DMLA, a Masonic Youth Organization. All of those things really kept me involved in the community, baseball, and so we kind of had a good base there for people to come in. So when we opened, we just opened the doors and saw what happened. We were great and involved in church and in a growth group, and so we decided to just open the doors October 10th and see what happened. No fanfare, no anything, no advertising, no nothing. Not $1 have I even to this day spent on advertising. And so the people started coming in, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going, and it got busier and busier to the point where we were out the door most days. We still are. We're still out the door, but it's just more often now than it was in those days. Those days being 6 years ago, it makes it sound like I'm talking about the 50s or something. So I found that I'm a small place. That's E36. We remodeled this old Dairy Queen that had been several things. The Dairy Queen was built in 1960, and it had been several things since then. It was a Dairy Queen until '92, but still, it worked out so that we had a pretty good following. But again, a small location that's at 36, and I've got some outdoor seating as well. But the old saying Yogi Berra coined was that it's so busy nobody goes there. kind of stuck in my head, and people were leaving, and so I try and chase them out. Oh, I'll have a spot for you. But people they'd still pull up and see the line out the door, and they decided that there's nothing that we can do, so we're just gonna go. And well, when they started saying that, I said I need a way to keep them in line just for a couple of minutes, just to keep them in the door. And so I thought about a free TV and that kind of thing, and people would stand in line for a free TV for a week outside of Best Buy or whatever it was. So I needed a hook. Well, originally what I was doing was that I was able to use the number system. So originally I got 9 tables. I said I can keep track of who orders what goes where, and boy, by the third day I said there's no way I can do that. This goes to these people, and remember who gets what goes where. There's no way I could have done that. I thought I could, but I didn't. So I thought about using the number system. And well, the number system, hand them take a ticket, that kind of thing, or the plastic numbers for Carl's Jr. or something like that you put on a table, or you put a number in a stanchion, that kind of thing. But I wanted something a little more fun. So I said, let's use a deck of cards. And so the deck of cards would be, you would come in, order food. I'd take the top card off the deck, and you would be the Queen of Hearts, or you would be the 3 of Spades. And then I have these holders that hold the ketchup and mustard and napkins on the tables. And so you kind of put them in those holders, and then I look around, and the 3 of Hearts, or 3 of Spades, and I'd go and hand them their food. Well, again, getting back to me saying that I needed a hook, just keep people in line. For just a couple extra minutes, I thought about, what about if I spread the cards out, And when I spread the cards out, if somebody were to pick a certain card, then they get a free meal. I thought about doing this several different ways. And if I'm going through stuff that you do not want to hear or you don't or you aren't interested in, then please cut me off.
This is perfect.
I thought about pick a certain card, the Ace of Spades or something like that, because in my computer system, I put in the card. For example, the Queen of Hearts would be QH, the Three of Spades would be 3S, and that's how I knew how to get the cards out.
So when the ticket comes up, when the order comes up, it says on the receipt or whatever QH, and so you know what card to look for when you run the food.
Exactly. So I said, so I don't want to use one of those cards, but then I said, well, how about I put the Joker in the deck? And Joker's fun, and so I put the Joker in the deck, and I remember it was a Friday morning, and two ladies, mid-70s, came in, ordered 2 Asian salads with chicken, and I said, ladies, I'm going to try something here. And I said, I'm going to fan out the cards, which, believe it or not, I couldn't fan out the cards worth anything, how you do it professionally, and I had to have a girl that worked for me. She was a 17-year-old high school student at the time, and she had to teach me how to do it, which I don't know if that's a knock on my character or her character. I'm still not quite sure.
She's pretty good at it at a young age.
And so the ladies picked the card, and boom, they picked the Joker. First time out of the chute.
No way.
And I said, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah, you're gonna lose your ass.
Yeah. But I kept doing it for that day, and people seemed to take a shine to it. And so I thought about it, and so I just kept doing it. And then the next day, I said, let's just try it. It's a Saturday and Friday and Saturday in the restaurant business are the busiest days of the week. And I said, let's try it again. And so it was a father and son. I said, gentlemen, we're trying something here. I want you to tell me what you think, and pick the Joker. And I'll buy lunch. And boom, they picked it. So 2 days in a row. And again, I said, this is a terrible idea. But again, I started to see people's eyes light up and people in the line engage in what's happening in front of them.
Because they're watching the people. They're watching the people at the counter, and they're kind of peering over their shoulder to kind of see what's going on.
That's exactly right. Or, more importantly, I hear, "What's this? What are they doing? What's going on?" It's got a little buzz there, and so I knew I had something there. Because what are they doing up there? What are you talking about? What is this? What is this? And then I heard more and more that this never happens. Nobody does this. This is not I've never gone to a place that would do this. And I thought about several different ways to sell this. Whether it's you get one meal on the entire check, because I pay for the entire check. Uh-huh. It's not just a half off. Or a better way to do it would be to give you a gift card for next time.
Right. Bounce
because
back.
you pay for it and it bounce back, exactly. And so you come back in, so I get you twice. But it just didn't have the right ring to it. It just didn't have it. I tell you what, if you pick the Joker, I'll buy dinner, or I'll give you a gift card for next time. It didn't have the quite. Or if you pick the Joker, I'll buy one of your burgers. It didn't quite work. So it just, you pick the Joker and I'm buying lunch. You pick the Joker and I'm buying dinner. It had such a natural flow to it that it just came right off the tongue. So I continued to do it, and it continued to draw more and more buzz. And over the last 6 years that we've done it, I'm averaging about 4 Jokers a day, which is about right. We do about 200 orders a day, and each order, if you think,
makes sense.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things there, and I'll tell you that in a second. So, excuse me here, my kids are just getting home, and so that means the dog doesn't necessarily have to announce that the kids are home. Thank you. So we went through it, and it's again about four a day. It was less in the beginning because, again, the numbers were about 52. The percentages were about right. But again, we do about 200 orders a day now, and when we do 200 orders a day, each PPA or each ticket average is about 2 people. It's right a little over 2 people, 2.1 as a matter of fact. So I'm working about 400 customers a day, going through my little 36 seat restaurant. The other side effect is that people start playing that, and people, I've seen people, 6 tops or 8 tops come in, and they're all ordering separately because you order at the counter, and I didn't explain this properly, I apologize. You order at the counter, and then we bring your food to you. That's why the card.
Yeah.
So you'd stand at the counter, so it wouldn't be sit down service. It would be essentially counter service with but a modified. I call it gourmet casual because we do some really good food there. I don't know if you looked at our menu or not, but
yeah,
we make about
next we make about 80% coming in for sure.
I have no problem with that. I make about 80% of the stuff from scratch, and beef Wellingtons or Mac Puppies. We've been voted the 29th best burger in the country.
Wow.
It's just we've been given some awards around Sacramento as well, and so it's just nice to be able to have that atmosphere. And I'm gonna try and sum up just a little bit because it's a lot to transcribe after this. But the couple of things that really work out for that is that, and some byproducts of that is that there are people now who don't even know the name of the restaurant. It's just they know it as the place with the cards. Oh yeah, somebody told me about a place with the cards, or you do a trick or something like that. And so it's not. So talk about branding. There's it has a lot when they don't even know the name of the place. Skip's Kitchen, but they come in and they've heard about it because of the cards. And that has a little bit to do with it. The other byproduct of I started to say that people, there's an 8-top that would come in and people start playing the games. Oh, you go ahead because they want better odds. Because when it's busier, you have better odds. So and there are some people who get that as well. So even though I've got a lineup,
some of the cards are already on the floor.
That's right.
Or the stanchions. Yeah, interesting.
Well, so instead of a 1 in 53, there's always one joker in the deck. So if you pick the joker, then I put the joker back in the deck and I give you the 9 of diamonds as a substitute.
And so if you've got 9 tables, you could end up being 1 in 44.
That's exactly right. Or I've got to-goes going as well, so you could end up having as good odds as maybe 1 in 40, something like that. Or somebody in the deck has taken one of those cards home. Decks are cheap.
Yeah.
Deck of cards are cheap. I get them from the Pepper Mill when I go up there for my daughter's volleyball tournaments, and I get them up for $1 a deck. I go through a deck about every 3 or 4 days. Kids chew on them or water, or people take them home, that kind of thing. I've had people mail me the cards back, believe it or not. Oh, I'm sorry I took this, and so they've actually physically mailed the cards back to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
My
next step is getting your own decks made, right? Getting the custom Skips decks made, and sell them or something as a.
I've thought about that. They're expensive. They're about $5 a deck.
Yeah.
$5 a deck unless you get in the quantity. Yeah. And I thought about Skip's gear and that kind of thing. I've had people actually give me decks of cards. So there's they give me a gold deck of cards, or people have actually made Skip's Kitchen cards for me. That they've brought them in, and it's kind of a little thing. I got a stack of about 12 or 15 decks that people have brought in over time, which is a lot of fun. I also make sure that if somebody comes in, because Skip's a little unusual name, and so I've had 13 Skips come in the last 6 years, and everybody who's a Skip gets a T-shirt. You can't get. I don't sell the T-shirts. I don't sell them or anything. But I make sure if your name's Skip that you get a T-shirt before you leave. You can only get them if your name's Skip.
So only you show your license and you get a Skip shirt.
That's right. And it just comes up in conversation, which is two other points there. That the first thing is it's a neighborhood joint, and I like serving the neighborhood. I call it my social outlet. And so for me, it's always, if you like what you do, the money will come. And if you really put some good work into it, it's not work. And that feels pretty good. We know a lot of people in the outlet. In the neighborhood, I've been able to watch kids grow up, go to college, and then come back, or families, especially this time of year, families come in and they say, we had to come to Skip's, and so I get to catch up on their families, and you really treat them like a family, or like it's an old school thing, and it's just a little bit of an extra thing that it's a mindset, and I tell my employees that's how we do it. That's just it. And they say, well, why do you do it? I said, that's just how we do it. That's what we do. My tagline is because your meal is more than food. And that's something that I believe as well. Again, I explained earlier that great service can make good food taste great, but it's also your meal is more than food. It's a gathering place. It's a gathering time. It's a time when families, my demographic that I set out with, was 2 working parents with 2 kids under 10. That was my family. And it's hard enough to get people to sit down nowadays. I don't know if you have kids or not, but having a meal together is incredibly difficult, especially if your kids, like ours, are involved in volleyball and baseball and soccer and DMLA and student government and, all of those things. It's hard enough. So I wanted a place where, families could sit down and enjoy themselves and just reconnect for a second. I've got a couple of TVs in there, but I don't give out Wi-Fi. I want families to engage, or I want people to engage when they sit down as a little bit of a gathering place. The other thing that really switched it for me is Chili's is a turn and burn type restaurant. In the market, the restaurant industry as a whole is over 125% turnover rate a year, and that's a lot. And so I really treat my customers as internal customers and external customers. I read this book one time, and it talked about internal and external customers. And for a long time, I treat my external customers as gold. They were untouchable. Anything you want. And then I'd go back in the back and I'd say, how can you screw this up? Why'd you guys mess this up? Don't you know, that's it. And so you'd yell at the kitchen staff or the server that you have, or whatever, because it was screwed up. But I determined that you have to treat your internal customers, which are your employees, as customers, and you have to treat them as well as you do your external customers, your guests that come into the restaurant, and that really has worked out for me well. I've got a turnover rate of about 40%. I've got half my staff. I've got 15 employees, but half my staff has worked for me. Well, 4 of my staff have worked for me since we opened 6 years ago.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's because if they need a day off, I take care of them. Yeah. And who works it? I do. If they need to get off early because their kids are going somewhere, who works late? I do. If you need something extra, I take care of it. The give back nights that we do for schools and for fundraising and the force we have in a community is something that I like to do. Those are things that I like to do that I think it's not necessarily a responsibility of businesses in the community, but it's something that it's something that people should do. That I know a lot of people do. I mean, come on, and they don't brag about it. And whether it's a big corporation like a Walmart that gives millions of dollars, or Target that gives millions of dollars, or I was just watching TJ Maxx is still paying their employees in Puerto Rico since the hurricane. Yeah. And I want to be like that. That's a place that I want to work. That's a place that I want people to want to work for. And it's a mindset, I think, more than anything, which is this is my standard, and this is the kind of place that I want to be, and these are the kind of people I want to be. And it's so easy to slip back or to eat away or to whittle away at those values or those core values you have, but and to compromise those. But it's also it's easier to have those whittled away than it is to keep those. But if that's your standard, and if you can look people in the eye and say, this is my standard, this is how we do it, and I think that they respect that, and I think they respond in kind and rise to that level.
When you are fanning out the cards,
mm-hmm.
do you have to then train new counter help how to fan the cards correctly? I mean, do you have a little process for making sure I know how to do it right?
No, it's not that difficult. It was just difficult for me.
Okay.
You just take the desk and you fan it out. It takes a few tries, but that's about it.
I imagine now in the social media age, do you get people taking pictures of the card or shooting a quick video for Instagram, like while they're doing it, sort of like this, almost like a video drum roll kind of thing?
All the time. They take a picture with a card. They take a picture with me in the card. They take a picture with the person who pulled the card, or with their family. A lot of times it's family because they've been in quite a bit, and boom, they pick the card. Yeah, it has a very a very fun effect. We make sure that I've talked about a bell or ringing a bell when somebody hits it, or put their pictures up on a wall when they hit it. That's just a lot. There's a lot of things you could do with that as well. The cards, honestly, if I was to do something like a loyalty program, you could do something if you get the Jack this time, and if you get a pair of Jacks, you get a free beverage or something like that. There's I've thought about that as well, and expanding in on that aspect, because there's a lot of things you can do there.
It's just amazing that when people are taking pictures and putting it on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. It's just free marketing for you. Incredible.
You know where else? Where it comes, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all that kind of stuff. But more importantly, it comes with Google, it comes with Yelp, and it comes with TripAdvisor. Those are the three right now that are really doing well. I've got 836 Yelp reviews, and
a lot of Yelp reviews for a small business. I wrote a whole book about that, and that is a lot of reviews.
I have 4.5 stars, and that's without solicitation. And a lot of times in those reviews, they mention you do this thing with the cards. You can look it up.
Yeah.
On Yelp, they mention a lot of things. Oh, they did this thing with the cards. Well, I didn't get the Joker, and I got the Joker. And so they take pictures with that or something like that. But all that's free. And I make sure I respond to every 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star review, because out of those reviews I have 14 1-stars and 16 2-star reviews, and 50 3-star reviews. The rest of them are 4 and 5.
Yeah, that's great.
So you just keep up on that, but you have to realize that it takes time for people to put in those reviews and respect those reviews. I haven't found the issues with Yelp that other people have, and people lashing out or whatever that is. My question to them is, to those people who poo-poo Yelp, but is how do they get out the door, and how are they so unhappy to get out of the door, go to their house, log into Yelp, and write a bad review? How do they manage to do that, and you didn't catch them before they left?
Yeah, it's either you don't care or it's bad training, or both.
Well, a lot of times it's hard work. I'm hosting a party 11 hours a day, and it's hard work to host a party 11 hours a day for 6 years.
That's right.
And you got to make sure that it's something you love, sure. But a lot of times people, you get a chef who opened a restaurant and they can't quite handle the criticism, because they've been trained and they know what they're doing, but somebody comes in and doesn't like it, and they get in their face and say, oh well, yeah, screw you, I'm the chef, I know what I'm doing. Or you get somebody who's involved in the front of the house that just doesn't quite know how to handle problems, how to deal with the negative criticism, or how to not get offended, because that's what you're dealing with two things people hold dear, and that's their money and their food. and when you screw something up, it's really easy to take offense. But you have to remove that and say, I'm sorry. What can I do to make it better?
When people come in with larger parties, maybe it's a 4-top or even 8-top, do they jockey for who gets to pull the card? Is that sort of like a, hey, you're the lucky one, or you picked last time? How does that work? There's
a little bit of a theater to it. A lot of times when kids come in, I would point to him and I would say, all right, here we go. And I'd show them the bottom card and show them that that's not the Joker, and then I'd show them the top card and say, okay, that's not the Joker, and then I'd show them one of the middle cards and say, oh, that's not the Joker. Okay, now what card do you have to pick? And inevitably that 5-year-old goes, I don't know. And I'd say, the Joker. What happens if you pick the Joker? And he said, I don't have to pay. I said, yeah, it's free. And so there's a little theater there to it. Sometimes in a group of a 4 and 8-top, they come through and say, okay, you're the lucky one, you pick, or you picked last time. I've had parents who have used picking the Joker as a carrot in order to be good on the way there, on the ride home, on the ride there, on the way back.
To pick the card. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Who wants to pick the card? Okay, but you got to be quiet. Quietest person in the car picks the card. Or birthday person or anniversary person, something like that. They treat that as kind of a special.
What's the biggest ticket you ever had to write off?
$117.86.
That's for real. That's a serious dinner. You're like, wow.
you're gonna think I'm lying about this, but this is 100% true. It was a group of Boy Scouts. They were on their Eagle Scout mission, and they had a big old trailer of garbage in the back. And I knew 2 or 3 of them. They were high schoolers, and they were doing their Eagle Scout project. And so they came in and kept going, and they kept ordering burgers and burgers. There was 10 of them. Kept ordering burgers. And then the last kid, his name's Christian. He ordered his burger, and he said, and I'm going to pick the Joker, and it's right there. And he turned the card over, and boom, it was right there.
And you're like, oh, no.
You know, yes and no. I will tell you this, that, again...
Yeah, if you're going to give it away to the Boy Scouts and the Eagle Scouts, like, okay, fine. But still.
There were several things in play there. First of all, they ran around like they just ran the Super Bowl. They were running around high-fiving everybody in the restaurant. I mean, everybody was clapping, and that's kind of what happens when we yell, Joker, Joker, Joker. Everybody claps, and, you know, everybody says, all right, all right, all right. And I've had people turn to the crowd and jump up and down and say, or I've had several people scream because they finally, oh, I hit it. You know, there's been a couple of people that have mistook the Joker for the Jack of Spades or the Jack of Clubs.
Oh, no.
And they're jumping up and down facing the crowd, and honestly, I look at them going, I don't even want to tell them. I almost give it to them because they're so excited about hitting the Jack of Clubs thinking it was the Joker.
Oh, no.
But inevitably, somebody in their party says, that's the Jack of Clubs. And so they put their hands down in embarrassment, the face turns red. But again, what I thought about when they hit the Joker was that I know some of these kids, and so I'm happy for them. The other thing was that all of those kids, all of them, went to high school. And they all told their parents when they got back home, guess what happened today? I hit the Joker. And guess who came back with their parents, and I got return business because of it.
Yeah.
Every kid who got a free Joker. So a free burger. So.
Yeah, from that perspective, right? It's almost better if larger parties hit it.
And there's something to be said about that. I'll tell you several times, large parties have not hit the Joker, and then one of the people in the large party have come up and said, "Oh, I forgot to order those fries," or "Oh, I want to order a beer now." And so for everything, pick the Joker, and well, guess what? Then they hit it. They hit it for the $5 beer and not for the $60 food. But
yeah,
free is free.
Yeah, that's right. Can't complain. One more question for you. I'll let you get back to your kids. Thank you so much for taking the time. This has been spectacular.
Well, no problem.
I can't wait to come see you. We'll come in and do a book signing when the book comes out. No, for real. We'll do it. We'll figure it out. Why doesn't every business do something like this? Like, you're a smart guy, and you care about your business, and you care about people, and I know all those things to be true just from the short amount of time we spent together. But all you did was make a choice, right? You just made a choice to do something different, and anybody can make that choice, yet almost nobody does. Help me understand that.
I think it's twofold. First of all, you're going out and doing something that nobody does, and it hasn't been proven. And in the restaurant business, the margins are so slim that you want to do things that have been proven to work. And it's so difficult to do that, things that haven't been done before, that people don't think outside the box a lot. It's called the box for a reason because most of the people are in it. And I think that it's difficult to think of something new or be creative in that aspect. If you go around to what you do, for example, there are several people writing books. Why aren't people writing books about more topics and that aren't being covered? Or even if you look at your daily life, where you drive or where you go to dinner is probably some of the same places that you always go, and to get out of that and to do something different is not normal for people. It's difficult, it's challenging, it's scary, it's unproven, and it's scary enough doing your own thing, let alone being unproven. You know, you're in classes, or you're doing book signings, or you're doing some kind of seminar, and when you go to raise hands, a lot of people don't raise those hands because they're stepping out, and that's difficult to do. And I'm very fortunate that it's difficult to do, because then if it wasn't difficult to do, then more people would be doing it, and hence there wouldn't be that. Hence the extraordinary or the different would become mainstream, I guess.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think that it's a short-sighted view that you lose money. And when I'm losing, it's a significant amount a month that I'm spending on this. Now, I don't do $1 worth of advertising. I'm very fortunate that I have not done $1. But if you count what I'm paying out in jokers a month, I could be doing advertising. So, and it's a variable that I think a lot of operators, not just operators, but a lot of people in restaurants, but a lot of people in business, it's difficult to do something for nothing. You know, what's the payoff? I'm not guaranteeing that those people are going to come back. There's no guarantee that those people are going to say anything about the business using this word of mouth theory that we're talking about. But but what is very tangible is the $150 a day. It's not $150 a day, but if you want to say the $60 to $75 a day that I'm spending on jokers is a tangible out-of-pocket expense that I think that people get caught up in when it's, I don't want to say short-sighted, because I don't know if it's short-sighted or not, but I think people get caught up in, and you can see real dollars going out without necessarily the return coming back.
But yet, a bunch of people are coming back and telling you that they're there because they heard about the cards, and so you know that there is a benefit there. It's just a little bit harder to put your finger on the exact value of it. But
your question was, why don't more people do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's because you see you can get that real tangible out-of-pocket expense.
Yep. It's a tangible out-of-pocket expense without it, with an intangible return.
Yes. Yes. And I think it would be easier. You know, you could do that different ways when it comes to giving them a gift card or giving them $1 off or $5 off.
Yeah.
But it might be better. You know, again, I could limit it. If I spend $4 if I hit 4 jokers a day, or people hit 4 jokers a day, I could max that out at $5, $5 per joker, and that's only spending $20 a day. But the return is you don't get that big. Wait a minute, what do you mean my meal's paid for? How many times have you ever gone into a place and just by picking a card, your entire meal could be paid for?
Never.
Yeah.
Never is the answer, and I'm shocked that people don't steal this idea all the time. They will now, unfortunately. You got one more year. You got a year till this book comes out, or a little less, and then you're going to have a lot of imitators, Skip. I know to tell you right now. A lot of people there's going to be a lot of people reading this book, so I'm afraid to tell you your advantage may be limited.
Well, I was trying to figure out a way. I needed to trademark this and put some kind of patent on it or something.
Yes, you should.
I don't know if you can do that or not.
I don't know.
It's just fanning out the cards and saying pick the joker.
Well, if nothing else, like Zingerman's or companies like that, that really do tons of training on restaurant and culture. I mean, you could certainly do a training program on kind of Skip's, not just this, but your whole concept, right? Kind of Skip's life.
And I think you said it really well, Jay. I think it's a whole concept. It's the whole package that comes with.
And this is just the obvious manifestation of it, but it's a belief system, and this is just the kind of tip of the spear.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so. I think so. That and you have to change your mindset a little bit, I think, and you'll be successful. I think the money will come, but also if you enjoy what you do. I've had people whose spouses have died that have said, you know what, this was his favorite place to come, or this was her favorite meal, and those kinds of conversations and those hugs with tears during those conversations are what keeps me going.
Yeah. Well, you're doing it right. You're lucky to have a business like that. Congratulations. I really can't wait to come see it. Going to make it happen.
Are you going to be in the area anytime soon, or?
I don't think I have anything on the books just yet, but it'll happen. We'll figure it out. I get to the Bay Area a fair bit, not as much Sacramento. We used to do a lot of work for California Tourism, and so we were in Sacramento. We were in Sacramento a lot, but we don't have them as an account anymore. But we'll make it happen. We'll figure it out. And seriously, if nothing else, we'll do it for on the book tour.
I'd love to see it.
We'll do it. Thank you so much. I may have a couple follow-up questions as we finish writing. If so, I'll just shoot you a quick note. But I think we're in good shape. Thank you so much for the time, and this is awesome. Congratulations.
Well, it's certainly been my pleasure, Jay. Thank you.
Thanks,
Good luck with everything. If anything I can do, you let me know.